How do you prepare your students for the first year after college or after graduation? My name is Duffy. I'm an associate professor of dance at Texas Tech University, and I'm also the artistic director and co-founder of Flatlands Dance Theater, a nonprofit contemporary company also located here in Lubbock, Texas. The first year after graduation, I think we can all agree, if you've been through it, it is something else. I think it's going to look a little bit different for every student or everyone you encounter, but it's a challenge. So I think the best thing that I can offer is that as an educator, you must prepare your students for the reality of what they will likely face when they go into the professional field. Now, this is largely going to depend on the area of the field that they wish to pursue. So a performer's first year after college might look very different than a dance writer's or photographer's or an educator's. So one of the things I can recommend is my book. It's called Careers in Dance, and you will likely see it as part of the post that goes up with this video. But in it, I outline all of the different areas of the field in which many of the students leaving college programs pursue, and ways that they can ease their transition into those careers. The thing that I think that we need to do as educators is really give them a sense that their first year in the profession is not going to look anything like their last year in school. So when students are seniors, that last year is probably going to be full of accolades. They're probably the best in their class or one of the best, and they're probably seeming very bright to their colleagues. They probably are receiving awards, scholarships. They're used to receiving applause. And then they enter the field and, oh wow, it's this whole much larger ball game that many of them weren't expecting. I often hear students come back, email me or call me, or even come back to visit my university after spending a few years in the field, telling me what they wish they knew, which is why I wrote the book in the first place. But I think as educators, we have to let them know that they might end up taking some jobs that have nothing to do with dance to support their dance careers. So upon graduation, I myself worked in Meineke corporate headquarters in Charlotte, North Carolina, in a high-rise building as an operations analyst. I still have no idea what an operations analyst actually is, by the way, but it took me a few years to figure out where my niche was in the dance field. And it took lots of auditions for me to be invited into a position in a company. So I think we need to prepare our students for that experience of continuous failure and the need to keep going. Persistence is key. And so I think we can do our students a real service by painting a realistic picture for them about what it's going to look like after graduation. The other thing we can do as educators is be willing to look at their materials before they graduate and offer honest feedback. So what I mean by this is if they need a one-page resume, be willing to take a look at those resumes and maybe even sit down with a group of them. If you don't have a class already called Careers in Dance or a capstone type of class, create an opportunity for students to gather together and have a little workshop or a seminar about what it is to create the resume that you need for your area of the dance field. Be willing to look at their social media and their personal websites, or even point them in the direction of someone who can help them develop one. Many students will also need some sort of a choreographic reel depending on the area of the field they pursue. So it'll be really helpful for you to help them with that as well. The other thing I would suggest is going through mock interviews with them. If you're at a university or a college, you likely have a career center on your campus that can do that for you. So that's less work on you. But I do think it's important for students to be able to articulate to hiring directors or producers, to artistic directors, to principals and superintendents, whoever is hiring. They need to be able to sell themselves and the skills that they have gained in your program in order to get hired. So it's up to us as educators to sort of enhance the curricular design that we've spent so much time creating by really adding some, for lack of a better way of saying it, some real life content so that it puts them in the situation of having to account for what they're going to be doing after graduation. The last thing I would say is that internships are a really great idea, and apprenticeships as well, particularly if they're paid, even just a little bit. It would be great to send our students to places that will pay them even a little bit for their important work. Many companies, nonprofit organizations in your community, even if they don't have apprentice or internship programs set up, they are fairly easy to work out yourself. So if you contact, for example, an executive director of a theater nonprofit, for instance, you can often schedule a meeting with them. We all need help in the nonprofit sector. No one is going to say no unless it just seems very disorganized. So if you're willing to do these things for your students, I think it can really enhance what we're already offering in our accredited curricula and our programs across the country. I hope this has been helpful. Please do suggest in the comments below any opportunities that you have for strategizing for your student success after graduation as they approach the professional field. Thanks.